The delivery should be later at the southern border region. Under a blazing orange sky, a biting cold wind swept across the snow-capped peaks. Amidst the wild and harsh landscape, Jin Runcandel, acting as commander, was giving his team their final instructions. His voice, clear and authoritative, cut through the howling wind. The objective of this mission is to find Sember Ville, the heir of the Ville family from the kingdom of Jin. Upon arrival, we will establish a base camp in the center of the southern border. Each team will then begin their search and share information by sending someone back to camp at a designated time each day. Throughout the mission, you are not to call me young master, but commander. Those injured will remain at camp to rest. That is all. I hope the one leading the search is still alive. As the team ventured deeper into the bare birch forest, the snow fell thicker and thicker. One team member, a blond young man named Bellop, rushed forward to report. Commander Eddington has spotted a watertail beastman. Jin showed a fleeting surprise, then quickly analyzed. Watertails? Since they are a docile tribe that always avoids predators, we likely won't encounter the white wolves nearby. After a moment of thought, Jin turned and ordered, "All right, Bellop, since the snow will slow you down, depart for camp 2 hours earlier. As for the rest of you, search Sector 13. Understood, Commander. Bellop and the others responded in unison, their faces serious. As the members dispersed, Jin stood silently alone in the white forest. A sense of unease crept into his heart. I have a bad feeling about this. Father definitely ordered this mission directly, but everything is going too smoothly. Could I have misunderstood that he intends to test me through this mission? His train of thought was interrupted when the team encountered a group of small blue creatures in the snow. They were watertail tribesmen, and they blurted out, "You look pathetic." A small blue creature with a sad face held out a grilled fish to Jin. "You look tired. Eat. This is for you." Jin replied softly, "Yeah, thank you. I'll repay you next time." Amidst the scrawny birch trees, he unfolded the map, his gaze contemplative. He thought, beyond Area 13 is beastskin territory. Low-level apprentices are no match for them. No need to force results. I'll spend the next 3 days confirming all searched areas. As Jin took a step, a desperate shout rang out from behind, shattering the silence. "Young Master!" Bellop Schmitz rushed over, breathless in the cold air. "Young Master Jin!" Jin calmly turned around. "What's wrong, Bellop?" Bellop stammered, his face clearly panicked. "Squad 2 has been ambushed!" Jin's composure immediately vanished, replaced by resolve and authority. He commanded, "All forces, prepare to depart. Bellop, what's the situation?" Bellop hastily reported. Squad 2 had to scatter to avoid the enemy. One person managed to escape, returning to base to report. Jin frowned. "Did Beastskin ambush them?" "No," Bellop replied, his voice still trembling. "They were ambushed by humans, and 3 individuals were confirmed. Daring to attack Runcandel with just 3 people." Jin cut him off, his eyes sharp. "No way. They definitely have more people." He turned and called out, "Eddington, David." When the 2 appeared, Jin decisively instructed, "You 2 return to camp to secure the surroundings. Absolutely no engagement with the enemy if detected. Ensure immediate reporting. That is the top priority." "Yes, sir," they responded in unison. As their figures faded among the birch trees, Jin gazed into the deepening night, his mind in turmoil. There were too many suspects for the ambush. Amidst the chill and pristine white snowscape, Jin Runcandel and Bellop Smith sped along, their cloaks fluttering in the wind. Gliding past the gnarled birch trees, Jin couldn't help but ponder, what is their objective? Why target Squadron 2 instead of my own Squadron 1? As soon as they stopped in an open clearing, a horrifying sight met their eyes. Streaks of fresh red blood splattered across the pure white snow. Bellop gasped in horror, stammering, Young Master, there's blood. Could it be? Mesa, everyone in Squadron 2 is dead?" Jin raised a hand to silence Bellop, his sharp gaze sweeping across the scene. He knelt, carefully examining the nearest blood stain. "Calm down, Bellop. The blood is still fresh. There are no signs of a fall or any flesh fragments," Jin reassured in a resolute tone. He stood up, drawing a conclusion from the footprints etched in the snow. There was a battle here, and Squadron 2 fled. Based on the footprints, only a single individual ambushed them. At that moment, another cadet ran up to report. Bellop quickly said, "Young Master, we found discarded bandages. It seems to be a Hufester product." Jin took the blood-soaked bandage from the cadet's hand, his eyes chilling slightly. "Well done, Sierra. Where did you find it?" "Sir, to the west." Jin clenched the bandage in his hand. The final pieces of the puzzle clicked into place. He envisioned the entire sequence. So, while they were given first aid to the injured after the first ambush, they were attacked by another individual and forced to flee west. A silent fury ignited in his cerulean eyes. "I will make them pay for daring to harm Runcandel's people." Turning to the cadet, Jin gave a clear command. Sierra, regroup with Eddington and David and report the situation to them. Then he looked towards Bellop, his gaze firm. Let's go, Bellop. Bellop immediately straightened up, responding with determination. Yes, young master. A cold clink echoed as Bellop landed on the pristine white snow, breaking the silence of the birch forest at night. Jin was already there, leaning against a tree trunk, his expression perfectly calm. It's Squadron 2, young master, Bellop whispered, his eyes fixed on the lurking figures ahead. Jin calmly replied, yes, I know, but Mesa isn't there. Not only that, the number of ambushers has increased by 1. Bellop, close your eyes for a moment. After 2 seconds, attack the one on the left. Understood, Bellop responded concisely, obeying immediately. In that brief moment, Jin focused on the dagger in his hand. He silently reminded himself, recalling Murikan's teachings about dark energy. A dark, eerie aura began to gather, coiling around the blade. The nature of dark energy, the sharpness and destructive power of an item enveloped by it, will increase, and it also blurs the item's own presence. As soon as his thoughts concluded, the dagger in Jin's hand flared with a blinding light, then vanished as he threw it. Almost instantly, one of the ambushers screamed in pain, his armored arm pierced by the dagger. Exactly 2 seconds passed. At the same instant, Bellop's eyes snapped open, his body already in a ready stance. His sword emanated a brilliant blue aura as he put his full strength into a downward slash. The remaining ambusher, already bewildered by Jin's dagger suddenly appearing and lodging itself next to him in the tree, only had time to shriek in horror. What the hell? He had no time to react. Under Bellop's determined gaze, the brightly glowing blade descended, carrying an unstoppable force. The sword shrieked through the air, glinting streaks clashing loudly. Surrounded by enemies, Bellop Schmitz braced himself against a furious attack from the masked assassin, the force of the impact sending both reeling back. Suddenly, a sharp sword stroke, imbued with a cold, dark aura, slashed across, and fresh blood splattered onto the cold ground. A desperate scream tore through the chaos. The masked assassin collapsed to the ground, clutching his severely wounded arm, his body trembling in pain. Standing tall over him was Jin Runcandel, his sword still stained with blood, his face expressionless. He turned to look at the remaining night cadets and asked, "Is everyone all right?" One of the survivors quickly replied, his voice both relieved and ashamed, "Young master, we're fine, but Mesa has been captured by them. We were useless. Please punish us." "It's all right," Jin calmly reassured. "Prioritize treating your injuries first." Meanwhile, the defeated enemy on the ground gnashed his teeth, trying to suppress the pain. He looked up at Jin, his eyes filled with despair and fear, and weakly gasped, "Spare me." Jin suddenly curled his lip, his cold gaze fixed on the wretch groaning at his feet. "Spare your life? Seeing how much you value your life, it seems you're not one of the foolish zealots of the Zippel clan. I'll give you 2 choices. 1, you'll be the only one to die after revealing everything about your organization, its objectives, and its base. Or 2, keep your mouth shut and die along with everyone connected to you." On the cold white snow, the man gasped, sweat beating on his forehead despite the biting air. Jin Runcandel's sharp blade pressed against his throat, rendering him immobile. In desperation, he stammered a plea. "All right, please spare my family. I am a member of a revolutionary group named Kinzello." The name Kinzello made Jin pause for a moment, his eyes flashing with surprise. Memories from his past life suddenly flooded back, as vivid as if they were yesterday. Kinzello was the terrorist organization that had been active even at the time of his death. The whole world had been shaken when they assassinated the King of John and massacred innocent people. The scene of the city engulfed in flames appeared in Jin's mind, followed by the image of a shadowy figure in a red cloak, wearing a crown and holding a glowing orb. They called themselves a revolutionary group, but the revolution Kinzello spoke of was to install their own king as ruler of all. Returning to reality, Jin's gaze sharpened and he growled, "Do you intend to sow chaos in the John Kingdom by killing Runcandel cadets?" Facing the pressure, the subordinate trembled and confessed everything. I'm just a low-ranking soldier, so I don't know much. I also don't know where the base is, but the branch I'm working for is located at the entrance to the Beastmen's territory. There are about 20 warriors and 4-star mages there. Under the silver moonlight filtering through the sparse birch trees, Jin asked his final question, his voice cold as ice. Last question. Why did you capture Mesa? That was for propaganda, to promote our revolution. There was an order to capture female cadets alive. Hearing that despicable reason, another cadet standing nearby couldn't suppress his anger, gritting his teeth and cursing, "You filthy bastards!" The desperate man finished, "That's all I know." Jin looked at him, his eyes devoid of emotion. "I will keep my promise," he said, his voice steady but carrying a deadly resolve. Jin's gloved hand slowly tightened its grip on the sword hilt. A faint, dark aura began to swirl around the blade, signaling an inevitable end. The delivery stood tall, his sharp gaze fixed on the exhausted trainees. "How long has Mesa been abducted?" His voice rang out, breaking the tense silence. A trainee replied, his voice filled with worry, "About an hour, sir." Jin nodded slightly, quickly calculating in his mind before giving a decisive order. "Then they are still near the entrance to the Beastmen's territory. Everyone provide first aid to each other and go request reinforcements from the main manor. I'll go ahead." Hearing this, the other trainees couldn't help but panic. One quickly interjected, "Young master, are you planning to go alone? The ambushers are all 4-star martial artists, and there are 20 of them. It's too dangerous." Another tried to persuade him, "We are just trainees. Sacrifice during a mission is common. Please don't risk yourself for us." Jin listened quietly, then turned around, his eyes as firm as ice. He calmly said, "You're right, Scott, but when a trainee is captured, a child of Runcandel cannot stand by and watch. I am much stronger than you think, so obey my command. Any further objection will be considered insubordination." His gaze then rested on Bellop, who was helping an injured comrade. "Also, Bellop, since all members of Squad 2 are injured, you are now the strongest trainee remaining. Therefore, you must keep yourself focused. Do you understand me?" Bellop, though still stunned, understood the responsibility Jin entrusted to him. He bowed his head, responding solemnly, "I will remember, young master." With only a faint sound, Jin's figure shot away, disappearing into the cold night of the snowy forest. The image of Mesa against the desolate, cold white snow, lying motionless, blood splattered across her pale face. A faint breath exhaled a thin wisp of smoke into the icy air, and a desperate, almost inaudible plea escaped her chapped lips. "Please!" As if in response to that dying plea, Jin Runcandel charged like a snowstorm. His white cloak flapped violently in the wind, his long strides stirring up a vast area of white snow. In his mind, a single thought screamed, echoing ultimate fear, "Please, don't let me be too late!"